All right, gang, I want to discuss the L24. We've talked about this, the last couple months now. I've personally been trading it now for 6 weeks, and honestly, currently, I really like what I'm seeing with it. First and foremost, the risk reward on it is solid. In fact, this week, I've really kind of been tested with it, where I took 5 straight losses, and I'm down like $70. So they've had 5 losses and 1 win. Currently in this trade right here, it's about 40-50 pips right now from target. And if this thing hits, it'll be positive for the week, and I'll have a total of a 15% return in 6 weeks. And I'm never risking more than 1% of the account. Now, let's actually start there. Let's talk about the risk management piece. Guys, risk management is truly the only holy grail to trading. There is no holy grail indicator out there. If you're searching for one, you are going to be searching for a long time. It just doesn't exist. The only holy grail is risk management. We've talked a ton about this, and I cannot stress it enough. Why do you think it is that there have been studies done with professional traders flipping coins and taking trades and still making money? They almost make it look too damn easy. Well, it's because they know how to manage their risk. Number one, they're not risking a lot of their account in a trade. So if you're trading and you say, let's just say that you start off with an account balance of $5,000. Let's just say, just that you don't want to risk more than, I don't know what the number is. Only you know that number for yourself. I will never ever risk more than 3% of my account on a trade. So let's just start with 3%. So if we have a $5,000 account, and we don't want to risk more than 3% of your account, that's $150. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I only have $5,000 in my account and I don't want to risk more than 3%, if I lose that first trade, I'm done. Either that or I need to change how much I'm willing to risk in a trade. Right? So basically, if you have a $5,000 account and that is your max that you're willing to risk, then you either need to stop trading, put more money in your account, or you need to find a setup that has less risk. Period. Because what happens is, as you lose money, so now if you have a $5,000 account and you lose $150, your account is now at $4,850. Well, now 3% of that is $145. You can no longer take a trade that has a $150 risk. Period. If you are, then you're breaking your rules for risk management. Guys, this is truly the key, and it's the only reason that I'm still trading today. Look, I blew through 2 accounts very quickly in my trading career. After doing that, I was very humbled, and when I started trading live again, this was just something I wouldn't break. I'm still a very conservative trader just because I still remember what it was like to really, really, really struggle. It's no different than my grandparents, who are no longer with me, but I remember my grandpa, who literally saved everything that he got in the mail. If there was a paper clip that came with something he received in the mail, he put that paper clip in a little bin. Now, my point to this story is he lived through the Great Depression. He never forgot what that felt like. And so he always appreciated the value of a dollar. This guy had a lot of money, but you never would have known he had a lot of money. Why? Because he didn't spend it on crap that he doesn't need. Because he remembered what it was like to struggle. Guys, the struggles that you're going through in trading, these are struggles you should never forget. It's the same type of principle. Just because things may be going well You don't want to get away from what was your original formula for success. Okay, so let's talk about the L24 and what makes it work. Look, I'm not expecting to win a big percent of my trades. I really don't care what the win percentage is. But if I can have 5 losses and 2 winners in a week and still be positive on the week, that makes me really happy, right? I've got a system that I can really lean on. Now, I can tell you guys right now, out of the losses that I have sustained, this one little filter would have saved my tail on more than half of them. So let's talk about this filter first and foremost, and then we'll get into all the signals and the setups. It's just a trend direction filter, just like it says here, trend direction, right? That's all it is. I have it applied on a weekly chart, and I have it applied on a daily chart. Now, my best trades are going to be with the highest time frame direction. Your very best trades are going to be when they both align. I'm not saying you can't trade against it. It's just any filter is, it's going to keep you out of losing trades, and it's also going to keep you out of winning trades. I haven't tested it enough to know what that ratio is. So let's just go and look at our L24 chart on the hourly. Let's blow this up a little bit. And let's just you know what, let's just scroll back here a ways. Oh, think or swim. I sometimes really do not like you. Oh, that's a great quote, Andre. He just says, if you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. Oh, Warren Buffett said that. That is really good. Okay, very nice. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Actually, I don't want to go back that far. I want to go to where I can see my crosshairs on both the weekly and the daily. Not quite there. Sorry, guys. Just get me there. Okay, there's the start of it. Okay, so let's just start right here. Let's not look at any of these trades. At this point, let's just make the assumption that I've already had an L24 trade, and I'm waiting for a reset to take another trade. Yeah, Spencer, this is recorded. So again, the first thing that you must decide for yourself, and I'm going to urge you to write this down and hold yourself accountable, how much are you willing to risk on a trade? Me personally, on this particular trade, on this system right now, I'm not risking more than 1%. That is super conservative. And you know what? I may never risk more than 1%. I personally believe this is a strategy you could manage money with. Now, I don't know what that even looks like. I've never done that, so I don't know what's required in the regulations. I'm not even going to talk about that. But something that you're only risking 1% on is very conservative. So right now I'm looking for a reset. Well, what's a reset mean? Well, if I'm bullish, which means my L24 is structured up, meaning current day L24 is greater than prior day, it needs to be by more than 2 pips for me to consider it a new level. Then I have structure up. Everything on the L24 for me is 2 pips. It's got to be. I use 2 pip wiggle on everything. Wiggle meaning it needs to be within that, within the L24. It needs to be within 2 pips or less. I'm going to call that the wiggle. Okay. It's just a fun little word I can throw out there. It's kind of fun to say. Okay, so at this point, do I have my reset? My reset means that I've gone from bullish to bearish by 2 pips or more. And in this instance, the answer is yes. Okay, so what I need to see at this point in order to take another trade is my L24 to go back bullish. So we're just going to wait. All right, here we go. I'm back bullish. So now I want to start looking for a trade. I can take a trade at the L24, or if the L24 didn't set up, I can take a trade back at the 200. Those are my only 2 options now. Simple, right? Now all I'm looking for is I want to see price come into the level within 2 pips. And then I want to see an up green bar if I'm bullish and looking to be long. My order is going to go in 1 pip above the high of the up green bar. So this up green bar, if I look at the top there, I can see the high of this bar is 1.1395. And it looks like 7, whatever that little 7 means. So I would put my buy stop at 1.396 and minimum 7. I'd probably just round it up and go to 1.397. Okay. Now, as I've traded this for about 6 weeks now, I actually prefer that my stop is at the lowest low. Okay. Before, I'd always use my stop at the low of the PPT bar, or the first up green bar. I'm actually preferring it at the lowest low, 10 pips below that lowest low. In my testing, that does prove out to be fruitful. Now, I'm going to leave that piece up to you guys. You can have it below the low of the up green bar or below the lowest low. I personally want to go below the lowest low. And here's the thing about Forex, guys. I can risk whatever the hell I want to risk. So if I'm risking 1% of my account, I can just adjust the number of mini lots that I'm trading. So it doesn't make any difference. And then I just take my stop, whatever my stop is, I just multiply it by 2.5. Okay? And so currently you guys don't have this trend filter. But one thing that you can do right now until I get this thing proved out to make sure it's fruitful, but one thing you can do is just take a daily and a weekly chart and add in a 10-period exponential moving average on both of them. If you're above it on both, that can help you as a little trend filter. It's just something to look at. All right. So again, I just take my stop. Once I have my entry confirmed, I have my stop. I just take it, whatever the stop size is, times 2.5. So if my stop is 50 pips, I'm just going to take 50 times 2.5, 125s. So my target's 125. Yeah, week and day. This is a week. This middle chart's a daily chart. This chart on the right is a week chart. Okay, so that's your entry. And there you go. So here's an example where if my, oh geez, thinkorswim, slow down. Let's see, what's the low of this candle? 86. Oh, never mind. You wouldn't have been stopped out. Anyway, either way, you would have hit target. You would not have been stopped, regardless whether your stop was below here or here. Okay, so there's a really nice trade. Okay, so now in order to take another trade after this target is hit, again, I want to see my L24 go back bearish and then bullish again. Now, if you look at this specific trade right here, it did go bearish while I was in the trade. I don't count that. This is not reset for me. It has to happen after my target has been hit. However, where could I take a trade right now? I could take a trade at the 200 period, right? Because I haven't had one since the reset. I just can't take another L24. So now I'd be looking for price to come back within 2 pips of the 200, and at this point right here, the 200 period was at 1388, and the low of this candle was 1391. Well, by my calculations, that's 3 pips. Great question, Pierre. Pierre just asked a great question. Does it count if you hit the EMA while you're in a trade? Yes. If the EMA is hit while I'm in a trade, that's going to count as the first touch of the EMA. Great question, Pierre. So I would not be looking for another EMA trade until I get the reset. Okay. Let's scroll forward, see if we hit the 200. We do. Right here. So now my entry is going to be off this big green bar. My stop's going to be below the low of it. Now this is a big bar. So it's going to have a large stop and a large target. And no matter what your target was, it was hit. So there's back-to-back trades. Now what's nice about the L24, when you have a currency pair that goes on a run like the Euro USD did here the last couple months, you're going to really pad your account. It's going to set you up to survive when you have 5 or 6 losses in a row. Because looking at the daily and weekly chart here, my guess is we're going to have about 4 or 5 targets hit. If I have 5 targets hit, I can lose. So that gives me, if we think of everything in terms of an R multiple, R being our risk multiple, we're risking a 1 R to make a 2.5 R. So every target I hit, I could have 2.5 losses and be break even. And the nice thing about Forex is I don't have to factor in commissions, right? Because the commissions are built into the spread. So it's an actual 2.5 trades that I can lose and be break even. So if I have 4 targets on a nice move like this, which you guys, Forex does this all the time. It does this all the time, right? I can have 10 losses in a row on this pair and be break even. I mean, that could happen. I mean, I definitely had 5, or I think it was 5 or 6 this week. Well, between the last 10 days. So it could definitely happen. But you're quickly going to make it up when you get a move like this, is my point. All right, so now at this point, guys, I can't take another trade. Well, actually, let's look at this. This is so we got in the trade back here. And remember, prior to this trade, we had hit a target on the L24. We were looking for a reset, which we got right here after our L24 target. Now it goes back bullish. Well, look, here's your L24 setup. But if you caught this trade, you haven't hit your target yet before this setup. So because you have this set up while in the 200 period trade, you're not looking for another L24 up here. You're going to have to just wait. And we do get a reset. So now I just wait for it to go back bullish, and I'll take the next L24, which is right here. So let's see if it comes back into the L24. Okay, now we got one up there. Now we're back. Now we are back bearish, so I'm not taking an L24 here because it's bearish. It has to be bullish. Now we're back bullish, but I haven't hit an L24 yet. Okay, this is where my L24 would have set up. Right at the London Open, I would have taken a trade here and I would have been straight up ran over. So that's a loss. So the next trade I'm looking for is either at the 200 or a reset of the L24 again. So let's see what happens. Okay, I've got my reset. Okay, here it is. Here's my reset. Now I'm back bullish. Here's my trade. Another target. So we've just gone through a few trades, 4 trades, 3 winners and 1 loser. I haven't tested bigger targets, David. I just tested the 2.5 to 1. So now if you look at this, guys, we've got 3 trades, so that's 7.5 Rs minus a 1 R. So we are currently up 6.5 Rs on this move. Again, R is our unit of risk. I don't care what dollar amount you're trading. If you think of everything in terms of an R multiple, it'll really help your trading. All right, so I wouldn't be taking this trade. I got to wait for a reset. Or move into the 200. I don't have a reset yet. Okay, here's my move into the 200. Now let's look at this move. So this bar closed below the 200. In order for me to take a trade here, my green bar, the high of my green bar has to be equal to or greater than the 200. If it is even 1 pip below, there's no trade for me. And clearly the high of this candle is below the 200, so there's no 200 trade for me. I won't even consider another one until my L24 goes back bullish and has to remain above the 200. And look, that saved me from a trade, or from a loss. Okay, so according to if I were using my 10 period moving average, which we discussed, I wouldn't even be considering a shorts in here, right? And clearly on my trend filter, there are no shorts in here either. So I'm waiting now for the L24 to go back above the 200, and then I'll look for another trade. Here's my L24. I never had an entry, but I do have an entry here at the 200. So I'd be going long here at the 200. and stopped out. Okay, I'm not looking for shorts, so there would have been no trade here, which would have saved me from a stop out. Now I'm just waiting again for the L24 to get back above the 200, and then I'll take another trade. And it does right here, but it does not set up. So now I'm looking at the 200 period right here, see if it sets up. And it does. So let's look at this one. My red bar closes below the 200, but my up green bar, the high of it is equal to or greater than the 200 period, so my entry is 1 pip above here. And I actually think that's the trade I'm in currently, and it is. Okay. Does that help clear everything up on the L24? Any questions? My actual price on this trade was 1.768. I don't want to move my actual screen in here because it will show my account number. You guys can see it in the room, but I'm not recording it in the video. And you can see the high of this bar was 1.1768. That's exactly where I got filled. Just had a question on the L24. So if I'm looking for longs, let's just say that right here I'm looking for longs on this L24. Let's just bear with me. I know that I'm not, but bear with me. Let's say I have an L24 that by the time it prints, price is below the L24. What do I do now? Well, I have to wait for price to close above it like this, and I want to have at least two down red bars back into it. They don't have to be down red bars with lower lows and lower closes. I just want 2 down red bars back into it. So I need to close back above, and I need to have 2 down red bars back into it, and then I would take a trade. So in this example, I've got my 2 down red bars. I hit the L24 right here. Here's my up green candle, and you can see the high of that up green candle. I never would have had a trade here. It never ticks above it. So again, if price is below the L24 by the time the L24 prints, I need to close back above it, and then I want at least 2 down red bars back into it, and then I'll look for a trade. I think that should cover every little nuance of the L24.